Mark Thomas, the EVP of Alliances and Marketing at Ridecell. Ridecell recently commissioned a survey of automotive OEM captives. And so this was done to understand exactly how are they viewing the digital transformation initiatives in their market. And so it was really interesting finding out essentially what some of the top insights were from that survey. One of the top insights we got is that AI and automation are really leading the pack as a top priority, especially as they're trying to understand how they can generate new revenue streams from this digitization. Having the ability to create new product offerings, um, sort of advanced insurance products, are highly dependent upon digitization in order to either price them effectively or offer them digitally to their customers. So it was interesting when we asked them which of the following digital features are customers most frequently requesting. The top was enhanced digital transparency in the financing process. So being able to give more insights, more transparency, probably because the company themselves can have more transparency. Coming in as a second, I'm having the ability to do a lot more things with a mobile app and a mobile account. So to be able to log in, see where things stand, understand payments, connections, things like that. And then third, they wanted a consolidation of the digital platform for all of the services that were being offered. So those were really the three key digital features. One of the most significant changes that our surveyed audience says that they've observed in the last 2 years is that customers have been demanding more digitized account services and a lot more flexibility in financing options. I think today, one of the challenges of the OEM captives is that their business has historically been leasing vehicles for 4 or 5 or maybe 6 years. Customers are now expecting to be able to have some seasonality, so much shorter term leases, having the ability to subscribe to a car if they have ordered a vehicle, but through supply chain issues and things, maybe that car will come in for another 3, 4 months. What are they supposed to do in the interim? Having the ability to have a digital offer that lets these customers subscribe to a vehicle, and then when their car comes in, turning that vehicle in, and then in turn cleaning it and putting it back into service for the next person's subscription. Being able to take advantage of multi-life cycle is really the next horizon that the OEM captives are needing to understand truly how to implement. And their digitization efforts are part of the underpinnings that are required to be able to do things like that. It's interesting. EVs present the OEMs with a completely different new wrinkle in their leasing operations, in part because when these vehicles come back, there's an estimated residual value. And what's happened recently is that the residual values for EVs has dropped dramatically. And so some of the OEMs are then looking at potential, 8, even 9-figure losses. So how they're trying to cope is understanding, can they keep those vehicles in service for longer? One of the benefits of EVs is that they have a much longer lifespan. And so being able to then offer their customers that are leasing those vehicles something akin to a lease extension. If they are able to understand and provide a lower lease price, people potentially are going to extend those. If they can take those e-vehicles and put them into the subscription pool that we just talked about, that's another opportunity for them to continue to get more value out of the vehicles, because the cars themselves have a lot more value than just the 4 to 6 years that they're leased to the customer. One of the things about the leasing industry that's changed is the understanding that you need to move from a single vehicle life cycle, which means acquire the car, lease the car, and then remarket or sell the car, to a multi-life cycle, because there is so much value in those vehicles beyond that initial turn. What comes after multi-life cycle is dynamic life cycle. And that's enabled by AI. And what that means is that for each vehicle, there is AI assessing what's the best and highest value and use of that vehicle. And so for instance, it's dynamic life cycle because it might even recommend that you should buy the customer out of the lease while that vehicle maybe is only 2 years in rather than 4, because it's predicting that there's going to be a glut of that year, make, and model, and that the residual values are going to be potentially in the toilet. So having the ability to say it's not just about using them as much as possible, but understanding what is that best and highest use for that vehicle. One of the things about dynamic life cycle is that when you get information about a specific vehicle, you can understand, for instance, the condition of the battery. Has it been charged with high-speed charging, and then that battery is potentially damaged and deprecated, in which case the recommendation may be you should auction that car off because it's going to be a headache for somebody. However, if the vehicle is in great condition, maybe that's a vehicle you want to put into your short-term rental fleet because it's got another 30,000 miles before any predicted maintenance is really required for a major style repair. So having the understanding of the specific about a vehicle beyond the mileage, but instead accounting for how it's driven, how it's charged, is changing the entire landscape of how people should be viewing their fleets.